The time is nigh. Open up your eyes to see the signs of the times. Got to be wise to all of their lives. Look to the skies from where my help comes. Wake up, got to wake up from the slumber. Don't let them pull you under. Rise up of the water. Never let them wrestle you into the mud.
Yes, family. Yeah. Look like we live. Make sure we on. Greetings in the name of His and Her Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I, Empress Reserve Menin. Yes, family. One perfect balance. Give thanks. Thanks for joining us on Politically Incorrect, where we get it correct. And if we're not correct, feel free to correct us. Y'all already know what time it is, man. It's a wonderful Wednesday already. It's been half of this particular week here is almost over, the work section of it at least. And so we cruising right now, going into hyperdrive towards the weekend. We're going to have to make the weekend strong, though. Y'all already know. Give me a mic check. Sound 1 2. Testing 1 2 1 2. Let me know how it coming across in cyborg space. Tonight we're going to discuss something a bit different. I'm definitely opening the mic, opening the lines. Feel free to call in. You know, I'll be telling y'all that. Y'all be messaging me. I don't know. Call in, not message me. Yeah. Let me take a look at this on a different level. On a different level. Yes. Completely different level. I here trying to find the program. Give me a second. I'm looking for it. Yes. Where we at? No. We're not fixing the sync with. Nah, we're not doing that. All right, here we are. Tell a friend, family. Politically Incorrect live and running. We want to discuss some stuff tonight, man. We want to touch on this economy, man. Can Barbadians repay this debt? And why I say Barbadians? Because, you know, as much as people say, I don't vote for the government, I don't support the government, just pay that bill, though. Taxes left, right, and center. So we're going to take a real look at this thing and see what's going on, man. All right, I got eyes in the sky. So go tell a friend that we up and running. Let it be known. And we're going to discuss some things, man. We're going to discuss some things. Let me see we get to some of this. Do some economy one-on-one tonight. Now, first, let me say out the door, I am not an economist. I know, let me just say that in the early. We're going to look and analyze some stuff. We're going to watch some videos, look at some information. I want to share some links. And we're going to ask some questions. You know, we're going to ask some questions. Politicians, everybody talking about Barbados and what's going on with the level of crime. I was told always follow the money. Always follow the money. In fact, speaking of follow the money, I got another video to play. I'm going to drop this video right here as well. I hope it's okay to drop this video. But I'm definitely going to drop this video as well. So we're going to see what's going on tonight, family. So in the meantime, in between time, go tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend, man. That's where we're going tonight. I just got to go and confirm this video. Let me line up this video as well. Definitely got a few videos to play. And yeah, here we are. Yeah. Let me just make sure I could, yeah. There you go. All right. All right. Let's just get it. Let's get it. That's a question mark. All right. Yeah, so it better be yes. All right. Let me see if I can download this as well. I think this is download this. Yeah, if I download it, it'd be better. Yeah. So I go, yeah, download it and just play it direct. So, you know, everybody talking about crime. You know, I tell folks you cannot discuss crime. You cannot talk about crime and not talk about money. So we gonna see tonight what's what. Monica, good night to you, everyone. Blessings, blessings, salutations. I know we're a little late. We are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8, usually. Supposed to be. Beverly, we see you too. Good night to you. Good night, family. We see you, Tony. We see you. It's good to have you on. Good night to you too, and everyone that's joining. Yes, Joyette, we see you, family. Tell a friend and tell a friend. We see you. I'm going to be as politically correct as I can be tonight with this politically incorrect conversation, because it's a touchy something, you know. And like I said, we're talking about politics in Barbados, and in reality, a lot of people saying, you know, I don't vote, I didn't support the government, but we support this debt. So we're going to take a look at this as of 25th of September 2024. We're going to look at this right here, man. Let me go ahead and start lining this video up. I want to play a video that is up and running. I don't know if anyone would have seen it as yet. It's possible that folks may have seen it. In the event that, you know, it has not been seen by some, I'm going to share it, and y'all can tell me what y'all think about it. Give me y'all thoughts on this particular video. Let me see how I can best set it straight. So if you've seen it, fine. If you haven't seen it, I'm going to start with it. Nevertheless, let me go ahead and share this video out the door. It's 9 o'clock. We ain't going to stay long, but we're going to definitely put some information out there that, you know, let me go ahead and pause it first. Let me pause it first. Line it up properly so you can see it. There you go. All right, let me share the screen, family. Let me go ahead and share the screen. Let me add this in. Like I said, some of y'all may have seen it, may not have seen it. I don't know. But let me see here. Do a full screen and see what happened. All right. See, it makes a difference. I go ahead and play this from the top. Let's go back. So let's go back. We're gonna go back a little bit. Going back to Wednesday. This is Wednesday, the 31st of July, 2024. We're gonna go back a little bit. We're gonna do this in stages. We're gonna jump right into this. Sean, I see you too. I see you, family. Can Barbadians repay the debt? My answer is no. But wait a minute, you won't even let the program start properly. Sean, we're gonna get into it. We ain't gonna jump the gun. Empress, we see you too. Good night to you, family. Daffodil, we see you. Good night. Peace and love, family. Shout out to the Hoardfield family, Barbados National Congress. Y'all already know. Let's get into it. Let's get right into this video right here. Let me go ahead and position myself so I ain't blocking the body and nothing like that. Give me a sound check also. Make sure the volume is up where you can hear it, man. Loud and clear. Before I get into this, let's go back to July and see what the senator, this would have been when she was in that position, Tricia Watson, told the monthly government to do. Listen closely to her advice on screening the port, the marinas, and other things that PM Montley left out of her speech. This is going back to July. Let's take a listen to this, family.
President has some things to suggest to the government. I can suggest a few of them. Proceed the crime bill. Go after the money. Make crime not lucrative. Anti-money laundering. And add to the anti-money laundering law, the people who are subject to that law don't take dirty money. Political candidates and political parties, Mr. President, take the money out of crime. Proper screening and the port don'ts on stuff containers outside of the port, Mr. President, and police the marinas. Those are the things we need to do and invoke the Income Tax Act, Mr. President. Business people in here getting audited people in this country living large and never work a day in their life. And everybody knows and brag to come after law-abiding citizens. And we are watching people who clearly are living off of ill-gotten gains, don't pay no income tax, Mr. President, and our government is doing nothing. That's how they caught Al Capone, Mr. President, not for mowing down people in the street, for income tax evasion.
So that's how they caught Al Capone. Not for the dirt he was doing, but for evading income tax. Very interesting, very interesting, very interesting. And, you know, again, shout out to Tricia Watson, by the way, and the work that she would have done in the Senate on behalf of the people of Barbados, trying to bring accountability where it seems as though none existed. King Alfred, we see you too. Greetings, greetings. I trust that you off the train already and you home in the comfort of your living room, watching Politically Incorrect on your full screen, big screen, on the screen. Yeah, so she, like I said, she has some ideas about the port, and you know, we could say what we like. The sister right here was putting in work all day, every day, and it's good that, you know, a lot of folks were comfortable. Well, I don't want to say felt comfortable, but were comforted in the fact that somebody seemingly was putting pressure on it, not taken away from anybody else that was putting in work. A lot of people was putting in work. We're not going to, you know, discredit anyone, but we definitely got to shout out the sister for making things, you know, lively. You know, a lot of folks, you know, yeah. But we give thanks, family. So here's the deal, family. Where is this going? Where is this going? Follow the money. Can Barbadians repay this debt? Well, what debt are we referring to? Well, I came across an image while doing my research, and I think I'm going to share that one as well. I think I could probably do that. Let me see if I can do that. It would allow me to do so. No, it doesn't. No, it wouldn't do that. Let me see if I can do it this way. Here you go. Yeah, here you go. Let me just add this one to the screen. This is, but this is an old image. Just for the record, this goes back for a few years. But until we can find an updated one, we're gonna look at this technically a little closer. Look at this a little closer. Let me share this as well. Can we get this closer? Do a full screen on this. We can do a full screen on this. Let's add this to the stage as well. All right, so this is what we're looking at here, man. Barbados government borrowing $1.2 billion in 1 year. This is going back to 2022. I believe this document is from 2022, if I'm not mistaken. It's 2022, July. It's from an article that speaks about Barbados national debt, why it matters to you, part 3. Now, this is from the Barbados uncensored.com. Again, shout out to the family that put in work in different areas. I'm going to share their link as well. Make sure you go to their Facebook page or their website and, you know, subscribe to it and check out a lot of articles they have. Very interesting read. Very interesting read. This particular one is from an article dated July the 7th, 2022. Barbados national debt, why it matters to you. I'm going to post that link. Let me just put it in the comments for those who are interested in taking a look as well. Let me go ahead and put that up there. Why it matters to you. Well, why it matters to you, like I said, this is part 3. This is not even part 1 or part 2. Now, I think personally that I would love to see part 1 and part 2, but we're going to just jump right into part 3 tonight and look at this. So, like I said, I'm going to open the lines. Let me go ahead and click that first. Make sure y'all can see where we at. There you go. Remember to tune in. Remember to tune in. Yeah, put it right there. Yeah, put it right there. I think that it's important that we have this conversation. The question tonight is very simple. Very, very simple. What is it? Where's the question? Let me put it up. Can Barbadians repay this debt? That is the question we're asking tonight. The lines are going to open. Let me make sure I line it up. So if you call, it go right through to the switchboard. Yeah, the switchboard. Let me just put that in place. All right. The number on the screen, if you're on WhatsApp, internationally calling, tell a friend to tell a friend. Make sure, remember the area code is 246. The number is 838-8253. It puts you in the studio with us direct. So Barbados government borrowing $1.2 billion in 1 year. So if we are on an average, the government has borrowed $1.2 billion per year, and this is 2022. Well, in the last 2 years, if we want to add to that, we can make the assumption based on the trajectory of this particular analysis that we have borrowed an additional 1.2 every year for the past 2 years. So that would be a total then of $2.4 additional billion we could add to this 1.2, which puts us at we're 3.6. So making an assumption that we have kept up the same numbers, it would mean that we at the point where now we have borrowed $3.6 billion in the last few years. Now, again, I'm being hypothetical. It could be less. It might be more. But I just want to look at this for a second, and we're going to look at this going back to 2022. Because, by the way, this is debt. This is based on loans that has to be paid back. Because if you're borrowing the money, people want back their paper. Now, we know that we have heard a lot more money, borrowing from banks in the last few years. We've heard a lot, different programs, different initiatives. But the Chinese loan here looks to be 115 million. Oh, and by the way, I need to check the source because I'm not sure if the source quotes this money as US currency or Barbados currency. But I think I need to check it, man. All we can say is that all we can say to that is where ignorance is bliss, it is folly to be wise. I look, y'all gotta go see this page. I'm going to share it in a minute as well. In fact, I think I want to do that now. Let me just go ahead and share the page itself. I think that's what's important. Because is this US dollars? That's what I'm trying to say, Sean. That's what I'm trying to say, man. We see you, family. Greetings, divine greetings to you too, family. We see you, family. Greetings, greetings. Smiling butterfly, good night, good night. Big respect, politically incorrect, family. Greetings, family. Big Hill. Sean said the question is where people paying income tax before the Income Tax Act. I like that. Good question. Good question. Greta, good night to you. Good night to you too. Greetings to the whole family. We see you too, family. Greetings. Tell a friend to tell a friend. The question is this US dollars? I am going to make the assumption. Well, I don't want to make the assumption. I would rather not make the assumption. But we're going to look at this article in a minute. In our July 2000, well, actually, I think they're going back a bit here. And it says, in our July the 2nd Facebook post, we tailored the Barbados government borrowing for last year to arrive at a round figure of 1.2 billion. This is the one we're looking at. Amazing. Or individuals asked why we made this post. Another thought it was because we wanted to strip up discontent. We want to stir up discontent, sorry. It would not make much sense trying to explain to such people that they are exhibiting selfishness of an extraordinary kind. You know, they're playing with words here. Fortunately, such attitudes were in the minority. Most Barbadians and some of our residents in Trinidad and Tobago try to put a light-hearted, if but half-hearted, spin on it. It is quite clear that too many Barbadians know very little about government finances, with the possible exception of the taxes they have to pay. If you are vaguely and painfully aware of the salaries and pensions MPs pay themselves. We took the time to publish 2 articles to try to educate Barbadians about government finances, published under the title Barbados National Debt, Why It Matters to You, Part 1 and Part 2. We try to explain how government finances work. Now, I don't have the 2 articles. I think it's worth looking for, but they said on their Facebook page, which if I'm lucky, I can probably find it quick if I desire to do so. Let the ancestors guide. But like I said, I'm not sure if this currency is in Barbados or US. it might be safe to assume is in US, but like I said, I don't want to make any assumptions and spread any disinformation. But I'm not seeing it here. But like I said, I want to post this link so you could see it on the comments. You got to download it. Let me go ahead and just make this screen one time. Let me put the article up here. Hang on. Let me put it up so you can see it, how it looks. Definitely go on the website. Take a look at this. Let me put it up. Hang on. There you go. Share this to the screen. Let me add this. There you go. Yeah, so this is Barbados Uncensored. That's another website that again does a lot of research. It sounds like it's based out of Trinidad. I'm not sure, but nevertheless, go take a look at it. The link I just posted. The link it's up there somewhere. If you're on YouTube, the link is there. This is the article part 3, and if you're on Facebook, it's there also. But we're going to take a look at their page at some point and see if we can find the articles 1 and 2. So y'all can go and take a look at that. There's some other stuff on there as well. So definitely want to give in fact, let me get to that in a second. Before I get to that, let me do this first. So like I said, there's a lot of information on here. I didn't see whether or not it was directly highlighted, but you can definitely go through it. It lists some few examples as well. And the question again stands: can Barbadians repay this debt? From what we understand, it is rising on a daily basis. There's money's being borrowed. We talk about the debt to GDP ratio. We're going to look into that in a second. We got a video from the central bank. We're going to play from the governor. We're going to take a look at that. We're going to see how they're trying to do these social media presence and try to enlighten Barbadians. But, you know, again, we're going to look at it. Now we do not have the difference in the different interest rates for each specific loan at hand at the moment, but let's say on average it is 0.1%, 1/10 of a percent per month. This gives 0.1% times 1.215 billion dollars, which is 1.2 rounded off $1 million per month. That's just the interest. It's $1.2 million a month in interest alone. By itself, this is not a phenomenal large amount, but if this amount was not factored into the current 2021 to 2022 budget, government will have to find additional funds to pay this interest. It means that the final budget deficit will be larger than estimated revenue and expenditure budget 2017 to 2023 below. So like I said, it's an interesting idea how they kind of broke it down. So when you get a chance in your own space, in your own time, go check this link out. Like I said, check the article, and also when you get a chance, check their page out on Facebook. I'm actually going to show you that in a second. Let me see if I can find it here and pull it up as well. Like I said, they got a lot of different things on there. Here it is. There you go. See, we found it. So this is also their Facebook page. You know, go ahead and like the page. Make sure you get the updates because there's a lot of information they have on here. There's an article on Ralph Torn, the LP, and the ugly head. Yeah. Well, there's some articles on there. You know, go check them out. Go check them out. I think you're going to find it interesting read. But also go look for the part 1 and part 2 of the economy aspect and why it should matter to you. Like I said, a lot of people said, I hear a lot of people saying recently, you know, we don't support the government. We don't this, we don't that. I'm going ahead and share this page as well. Let me copy this right here and make sure I send this to you as well. Let me put it there. The link to that Facebook page is in the comments as well. So feel free to go ahead and check that out. Check that out as well. Yeah, so yeah, go check that out, family. Like I said, it's worth reading. But I want to get into a video actually. I want to show a video really quick, so we can start taking a look at it on a different level. Let me go ahead and put this up as well. So this is a video from the central bank. Give central bank the props in this. I want you going to put this link up as well because it's a long video. We're not going to watch the whole thing, but we're going to go into 2 or 3 different aspects of it for the sake of understanding. Now, this video isn't no old video. This is a new video. I think it's a few months ago. And so it's worth some understanding. So let me just jump right into this really quick and take a listen, family. Definitely take a listen. Make sure the volume is up. Nice.
Remember, those of you who are joining us online, you
Let me know how the
too
volume
can
sounds.
participate by asking your questions via WhatsApp. The number is 266-8830. But before we get to anyone's questions, Dr. Greenidge will give us a synopsis of the economic performance.
The
Governor,
synopsis.
it's all in your hands now.
Pay attention, family.
Thank you, Noveline. Good day, members of the media, and to everyone watching this news conference. I'm pleased to share with you how the Barbados economy performed during the first quarter of 2024, and also give you our outlook for the remainder of the year and into the medium term. So let's get going. In terms of the overview of the economy, for the first quarter of 2024 this year, the economy grew by estimated 4.1%. Now, in terms of context, this is the 12th quarter of economic growth. 12th quarter of economic growth means 3 years of economic growth. Now, that, of course, meant a solidification of the economic development and also a building of resilience. So it would have fell into the different economic fundamentals with the debt to GDP ratio falling by to 414.3% by the end of March this year. Also, because of the expansion of the economic base, those will benefit the transaction-based taxes on the government side, helping government to achieve a primary balance of 3.7% of GDP.
Now, before we get into this, because I mean, I just want to make one observation, and I don't know the gentleman personally. I would like to think that if you're at the head of the central bank, the governor of the central bank, there's a level of confidence that you should have in that position. And not just a level of confidence, but comfortability. I don't know if it's me, right? But I find when the brother speaks, he seems a bit, I don't know if he's nervous or unsure. As if like, like he's acting the part. Like I'm not, like, again, there's not a rush to judgment. This is me just wondering, what if it's me? The guy, you in charge of the central bank, man. Like there should be a degree of confidence that you're supposed to exude, like naturally. I just, like I said, maybe he's camera shy, because not everybody like the camera. Maybe he's always nervous. But I find that when he speaks generally, I find that there's, I don't know, but like I said, this is important. So, don't focus on the messenger. Try this to listen a bit to the message because he's going to lay the foundation here and get into the other stuff. Now, again, like the article said earlier, a lot of Barbadians don't understand the government finances. A lot of it be like, man, that don't even make no sense to me. But we got to start paying attention because whether we support the government or we don't support the government, we are all being taxed multiple times. Pure taxation without representation is exploitation. So we're being taxed every day to finance this debt and this money that is being borrowed. And in most cases, a lot of us ain't got nothing to say about it. So, that's my thing, man. Somebody says a bit low. Let me know if it's still a bit low. Let me know. Somebody said, why does the presenter look and sound like he is afraid for a national finance future, perhaps, financial future? My thing is, I just said the same thing. So at least I know it ain't just me. But like I said, in his defense, maybe the brother is a bit camera shy. So we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But pay attention, family. And let me know how the audio sounds as well.
Again, the reserve strengthened to a record level of 3.3 billion reserves, and unemployment edged down further. And this unemployment is at the end of December 2023 from 8.4 to 7.9%. For the first quarter, we recorded a current account surplus, and that's where our transactions to the rest of the world meant that there were more of a outflow from us. And that compares to a deficit in the first quarter of last year, again, reflecting the strength of the economy. On the banking side, non-performing loans remain pretty much as they were before at very low levels, and the banks and the banking system remain quite adequate in terms of capital adequacy ratio. So that's the general overview. I'll take you into the details now a bit. What drove the first quarter performance was an extraordinary performance in terms of tourist arrivals. We had about 228,828 tourists on island for the first quarter. That's the highest on record any year, even surpassing the first quarter of 2019. In fact, from November last year, December, January, the entire winter season, those monthly performers were also the highest on record. And in fact, if I take you to the chart here, and just point out a few. For our first quarter, we had U.S. market increasing by 47% on top of its performance thus far. We also have 21% increase in Canadian market, and all of this reflect increased the airlift capacity and intensified marketing efforts. In CARICOM countries, we had a 20% increase, and UK was basically flat. But as I said before, UK already surpassed its peak in the 2019, and in my view, that's now level out, and therefore that's still a very good performance. This 14.8% growth in tourist arrivals would have benefited the industry, and we saw hotel occupancy rates, the occupancy rate hotels, increasing by 4.1%. Revenues, on average, revenue per room going up by 3.7%. And also in the share economy, this is the Airbnbs and those other share economies, non-hotel, we saw occupancy rates going up by 7.1% and revenues per room going up by 7%. Cruise also recovered strongly. We had cruise arrivals recovering to the extent that we are now 96%, roughly close where we were in pre-pandemic levels. And what drove that was an additional 15 cruise ship calls. And so strong performance on the tourism sector, and that spilled over to the rest of the economy with broad-based growth in other sectors. Manufacturing increasing by at least 1.7%, wholesale and retail up, benefiting from the tourism activity. Government and businesses up, construction up with additional work both on the private sector and the public sector, including the mill and paving work.
Well, let me start with
However, we saw
let me pause and real there. Well, let me finish first. Let me hold on.
declines in agriculture, reflecting mainly both on the private sector and the public.
I want you all to listen to this part very carefully. Very carefully.
Government and businesses up, construction up with additional work both on the private sector and the public sector, including the mill and paving work. However, we saw declines in agriculture, reflecting mainly the harsh weather conditions, extreme heat conditions, and intermediate bouts of rain. And that meant that food crop, agriculture, root crop, fruits, other meats, milk production, most of those things were affected tremendously by the extreme weather conditions, and therefore they were down. Chicken was up, and that meant the tourism demand and local demand, and fish landings were also up. But overall, the sector tends to be down, and those one challenge we're facing with these extreme shocks and conditions. The sector production more immediate bouts of fever.
Right.
We saw declines.
I want to go back there real quick. All right, so looking at this particular chart here, like he said, well, first of all, you can recognize the year 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024. Now, on the bottom, you see the tourism, manufacturing, construction, quarry and mining, wholesale, retail, government, non-tradables, business and other services, agriculture, and real GDP. All right. So we all know what 2019 was about. We all know what 2020 was about, and 2021 to some degree. We know that that was the COVID time, And a lot of stuff was locked down, couldn't move, this, that, world was on a standstill to some degree. We get that. Coming out of that in 2022, people are allowed to then move again after sitting down for a little while. Might have had a little extra money put down in some cases. So tourism, folks want to get out the house. Tourism went up. A lot of people started traveling again because remember they were on very restrictions and couldn't travel and whatnot. So people started moving again. But coming out of that period, one of the main things I want to highlight on is agriculture. Now you would think, right, that we would invest enough in the agriculture sector because on a standard GPD, if I get this correctly, and foreign exchange, if we spending all the money buying stuff outside, because you can't buy it with Barbados currency, no matter how much currency you print, you cannot buy the foreign exchange you can't buy on the foreign exchange market with Barbados dollar. You need foreign exchange in order to exchange with the foreigners. One of the ways to generate that would be agriculture. Now, agriculture took a loss according to this at 6.8%. It might not seem like much, but that means that's 6.8% added now to the food bill on the import side of things. So that's more money now going out. So now it affects the economy in a different way. Because if there's less money here to circulate, I mean that people have less access to money, which people already have a limited access to money as it is. And so naturally, by going this route now, is like, well, nah, you ain't, So that's one area that I realized. I was saying to myself, well, wait a minute, man, how comes the agriculture thing went down? Like everybody going up, even top manufacturing went up, which is funny because what exactly we manufacturing? I ain't really sure. I'll be doing some stuff. I know a few factories, shout out to Star, of course, Glendine Graves, you got to do that. And one or two other local farm manufacturers that might be into these sauces and whatnot. But ideally, I ain't really sure. But what we got to focus on is what he about to get into next. It talks about the debt. So let me go back and click on this. My thing is agriculture is one of the areas that can boost the economy. We spend so much money, hundreds of millions of dollars, importing food for the same tourist industry that he's talking about. The whole focus is tourists, the tourist sector this, tourist sector that. We had an increase in rooms, occupancy. We get it. However, majority of these hotels are taking the money. It isn't being pumped back into the local economy. That money is going back outside of Barbados in different ways. So although they make money here and they talk with the money they making, the money he talking about that they making, the money don't stay to Barbados. It don't trickle down. It don't even reach. It don't even come down. That go up, back up to Europe, back up to North America, and we don't see that currency. But let me get into this a little bit more. Hold on. Let me go forward here. Here we are. When he start to talk about this pie. They always want to talk about pies and sharing pies. Let's get into this right here. And let's get into this.
I mean, for the first year now, we are 2.3 billion in real economy. This is the key. And in nominal terms, we are 3.6. And just looking at the historical context, you can see the K has grown. Continuing on.
Let me go back a bit. Here it starts up.
I put a chart. I like to explain when I say the economy grew by 4.1%, I'm referring to real economic growth. And if you compare the economy size, economy for the first year now, we are 2.3 billion in real economy. This is the key. And in nominal terms, we are 3.6. And just looking at the historical context, you can see the K has grown first quarter versus first quarter 2023 back to first quarter 2019. And of course, as we progress here, we expect this K to expand and continue further.
In all fairness, though, Mr. Governor, I don't think it's fair to use. Well, you said the K expand, but we get it. But don't forget 2019, 2020, although you got 2021, 22, they're missing. That period right there, a lot was going on in Barbados and all across the world. So you talk this expansion. Can you explain us what you mean by this right here, this expansion?
So both in real and nominal terms, the first quarter has been a very strong quarter. I mentioned that the unemployment rate declined. It continued to decrease. It ended the year, and this, we only have data up to the end from Barbadians Services to the end of December 2023. The rate fell to 7.9% from 8.4% a year earlier. Not only has it fell, but there were increased employment in retail, tourism, construction, and the manufacturing sectors. We also saw the number of unemployment claims being at one of the lowest levels since the pre-pandemic period. As I said, looking at the trend, you see the 7.9 here is much lower than 2.8, but significantly lower than our 10.1% average, and only eclipsed by back in 2007 when we had the preparation for the World Cup cricket, and therefore we expect this to remain low at least for the rest of this year as we continue to prepare for the World Cup this year. Moving on to inflation.
Before we go on to inflation, I want to go back here a bit and look at this. This is supposed to be the annual unemployment rate. It said remains below the historical average. Now, when they do stuff like that, it remains below the historical average, meaning that there's an average that is normally historical. I guess that's pretty self-explanatory. However, what they don't tell you is that that historical average doesn't even speak to the overall total of what's going on. Now, the chart shows you some numbers, and it simply says the average unemployment rate is 10% of Barbados. In other words, what he's suggesting is what this chart, rather, let me rephrase it, is suggesting that the average rate is 10% and it goes up and comes down. And back in 2021, it was up as high as 14, but luckily for us, it is down now, according to him, in 2022 to 2023. At the time, it was down by 7.9% unemployed. And he was optimistic about the World Cup somehow creating jobs for individuals. I suppose he meant the parking attendants, navigating parking, and perhaps people selling water outside of Kensington. I don't know what he was thinking about. But looking around Barbados and seeing people around Barbados, you know for a fact that people are struggling. And you hear it everywhere you go. The cost of living is mad, and folks are not in a position to finance their livelihood. So although they say that the unemployment is down, the reality is, even if people are employed, Mr. Governor, it's okay to look at unemployment as I have a job or versus I don't have a job. What you have to look at is what the job is paying you. It's not going to say a person can be down to 7.9. Everybody, even if it was 1% unemployment. In fact, if it was down to 0% unemployed, everybody in Barbados had a job. In reality, it isn't the fact that you have a job. What is most important is what is the job paying you as it relates to the cost of living. Can you afford to live off of what you're being paid? I think, in fact, in that light, it might be easier to perhaps not even have a job. But anyhow, I'm going to let you tell it.
For the World Cup this year. Moving on to inflation. Now, what we saw is an easing of international prices, which will have put downward pressure on the inflation rate. But at the same time, because of the adverse weather conditions impacting the supply of certain root crops, food crops, and livestock, in addition for increased demand for dining out, alcohol, beverages, etc., and rental prices, that put upward pressure on inflation rate. And so inflation rate ended up at 4.2% for the year. Pressure on inflation rate.
Let's go there for a second. Recognize, right, that the chart here has a key as well. So you know that the green is food and non-alcoholic beverages in terms of inflation, what has gone up. And the yellow is health, which is health kind of went up a little bit. By the way, this is just 2023 last year. Most of this, at least the section on the right-hand side of the screen, I think is my right hand, which is probably your, I don't know. The part right there. Looking at it on the right-hand side at the bottom. I suppose be looking at the same screen. Nevertheless, housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuel. Right. So we see that also inflation, how that's also increased in the latter part of last year. Speaking about electricity, don't forget the bill this week. Anyhow, we're going to touch on that Friday. And so, but look here though, restaurant and hotels. I want y'all to pay attention to this again. This is the part I want y'all to focus on. We in Barbados paying back all this debt all the time. Meanwhile, the inflation going up in the hotel and restaurants. Well, not everybody go to restaurants. Not everybody stay in hotels. That's a foreign, that's a guess. So they making more money, bringing in more food, not buying from the local market, and all these taxes that are being brought in to, according to the same governor, to finance the infrastructure and different initiatives in Barbados that people come here to benefit from, come here and enjoy, and these hotels reap the benefit of them staying there and feeding them and whatnot. We stuck with the bill, is the point I want to make. We get stuck with the bill. So let me get this straight. The government borrow money, fix the island, fix the infrastructure, the road, all the different things, utilities, whatever, put everything in place so that those who come can see, oh, such a nice place, the roads, and benefit from all these different infrastructure improvements. Allow the system, the hotel industry, to strive off of this particular aspect of the nation. But the money that they making, these hotel and hoteliers, because come on, how many people in Barbados own, how many Barbadians own hotels, really and truly? How many Barbadians own, how many hotels are owned by local? I mean, I know one, two. I know two people. Shout out to both of you, because you know, well, shout out to both of you. And may the other one and her, may she rest in power and peace and rise in power. But I know two that actually own a hotel that trying to thing, and they could tell you, man. I think there are only 3 hotels in Barbados that are owned by Barbadians, and by Barbadians I mean Black Barbadians. I don't even know if I should be distinguishing that at this point in time, because it might be obvious. Nevertheless, but they inherit, they benefit. The inflation, look at it, I mean, it's right there. They all benefit in there. Everybody getting that paper. So let me
alcohol, beverage, etc., and rental prices that put upward pressure on inflation rate. And so inflation rate ended up at 4.2% for the year. At the end of December, 4.2%, and that 4.2% at February, that went dated down to February compared to the 6% period before. But what I draw your attention to is the general easing of the inflation rate. Now, that easing of the inflation rate, 4.2 means that prices increased by 4.2% during for the year. It's not a falling of prices, but in a slight increase in prices of 4.2%.
I don't know if you checked recently, right? But the prices in the supermarket had not increased by 4.2%. In fact, Mr. Governor, a lot of these prices are up, in some cases, 7 and, well, let me put it this way. Let me put it this way. If, for example, an item cost $10, let me use simple numbers, round it off, easy to multiply. But this 4.2 you're talking about is more like 60, 70%. Nevertheless, an item that might have cost $10, let's say a year ago, right now in the supermarkets, that same item that cost $10 a year ago now costs at least $17, which is not an increase of 4.2, Mr. Governor. That's an increase about 70%, 70. So I ain't really sure. Perhaps this is perhaps we need to have an update. Perhaps you need to come and give us an update, Mr. Governor. I'm sure that, we can get to that.
It seems that we're having some technical difficulties.
You're telling us.
So I will continue to talk about the rest of the economy on the slides come back on. Moving from the real sector and the performance of unemployment and turning my attention to the reserves, we had as I say, a 3.2% increase, 3 billion level reserves. and that is a $250 million increase in the reserves. That level of reserves, here comes the slides again. Never know what technical problems you get, so you must be able to adapt. Represents 3.3 weeks of import cover. So that 3.2 billion will give us 3.3 weeks of import cover. And I must say, what that really means is that with no more earnings, that will be covered. That gives us a lot of buffer and room for money reserves we draw down to meet economic growth. Right now, we spend about $98 million per week in foreign reserves.
Let me
Per week in foreign reserves.
Let me pause it really quick there. This is too critical. Hold on. To miss. This is 33.3 weeks of import cover. Now, these numbers aren't by chance, right? Y'all got to pay attention to this thing here. What they're saying, because this message isn't really for Barbados. This message is for those, what they call them? The plantocracy, which is the private sector, and the slaveocracy, which is the shareholders. Just new modern terms. But we have 33.3 weeks of import cover. This is, you cannot make this stuff up. In fact, let me look at the comments for a second, because I tell you all to shout me. Let me know what your thoughts are. Can Barbadians repay this debt? Let me go back here. Okay, look here. I see you, Maria. Greetings to you too. Got the sheriff in the building. Greetings, family. Greetings. Shout out to with an amount of money borrowed, those pies in the charts don't seem right. Yeah, they don't seem right, but they try to make them look right. How is the unemployment rate calculated? Certain sectors mentioned here have been issuing short-term contracts and laying off employees in droves. Now, guess what? A lot more people have been laid off recently from a lot of hotels. So this is, like I said, this is not up to date. But if we were to get an up-to-date one, Mr. Governor, I don't know if they're going to show you this clip from Politically Incorrect, but I hope somebody show and tell you we need an update, because the maffin, you know what I'm saying? Good night, family. Good night. So the Cricket World Cup was a flop, so all the predictions failed. Yeah, King Alfred, we see what's going on, man. He said you can manipulate unemployment figures. If a person didn't look for a job for a long time, you are no longer unemployed. You out of luck. Most jobs only give you enough to come to the establishments to get their work done. Any left over is a balancing act. Whoa, that's serious. They're talking about rates of inflation, not inflation itself. Prices are not coming down. I like that, Sean. Good observation. It's a fact. Like I just told you. I mean, an item that was $10 before I went the other day. I gonna tell you what it is, man. So I want to make this this Alfredo, right? Some pesto with some basil and whatnot. And so I went looking for some Alfredo sauce. I used to pay about $10 for this jar. I went to the supermarket, looked for this jar, thing called about $17. I tell myself, what? I could not believe it. I had to scratch my head like, child, what about the price of two of these? Almost the price of two. I just can't, I can't. Fuel going down internationally. I don't know why the price is still high. Like something ain't right. Something, we talk about crime and the youth. We got to talk, you cannot talk about fixing crime and not talk about the economic state of the country. They are both hand in hand, directly linked, man. Follow the money. His uncomfortableness may come from the fact that he knows the truth. He knows the true math ain't mathing. That might be true, Andrea. You might be right. You might be absolutely right. Shimon, shout out to Shimon. He said, Emmanuel, this is the single most important show so far because it deals with Barbados borrowing as a means of primary source of generating revenue versus Barbados actually generating direct revenue. That is deep. That is deep. As opposed to Barbados generating direct revenue, you should hold an online discussion with your panel. I keep asking, how does Barbados generate its own revenue needed to do public works? This discussion is not being had, and I want to know why. Well, I'm going to tell you this right now. The number is on the screen. Feel free to call in and share your thoughts, Shimon. You're no stranger to online. You're not a stranger online. I think it's important that, yes, you know what? Again, if they're not being had, anybody holding press conferences, we might as well have one too. I just say, on a serious note, family, I think we need to really, really take a look at the state of the economy and where it's going. Because it's okay. And Mr. Thorne, yeah, they say you're always on Thorne. Well, Mr. Thorne is the one that say he represent the people. So who else I can talk to? There's the thing though, Mr. Thorne. We know that Miss Motley's been spending the money. Yeah, we know the trips. We hear all the jokes, the little subtle comments. We get that. What is the economic strategy you plan to, put to the table to make sure that we can resolve this debt issue? Because, like I said, you was to win election tomorrow, and you get into the treasury, and you get to the books, you'd realize that, well, you know there are two books anyhow. The one you tell the people about, and the one that actually keep track of what's really going on. And we know the Auditor General report has indicated for quite some time that there's been a lot of missing funds. So when you get the book now, assuming that you actually pull it off and win the seat, and recognize that we deeper in the hole, and you got to pull a Mia Motley interview, perhaps with David Ellis. Well, maybe not David Ellis, but I ain't going to show no shade and say a different David, but I did say it. The reality is this though, you got to tell the country, well, we're not in debt for 15 billion or 19 billion or 22 billion US. We actually at the point where now we're in debt for 30 billion US. So my question, Mr. Thorne, would be, what would be your economic strategy to reduce that 30 billion US debt that Ms. Motley and her crew would have left for you to clean up? What is the plan? According to the brother just now, are we going to generate direct revenue? And if so, how? I'm not being facetious by answering this question. I'm serious as a judge, because Barbadians, we got to recognize you cannot put your faith and the faith of this nation and the faith of the future generations in the hands of those who all they're doing is taxing you. Taxation without representation is nothing more than modernized exploitation. And that's just the reality. When these statements got discovered, when the government borrows money, foreign exchange, local taxation, levying duties should not be the way to pay back or clear foreign debt. It would become burdensome on the people to be responsible for a government's debt to GDP ratio imposed on a local economic drive, and we are being put up. Let me see here. Hold on. We are being put. Okay, we are being. Okay, let me go back here a bit. It will become burdensome on the people to be responsible for a government's debt to GDP ratio imposed on the local economic drive, and we are being, I guess, put upon. Well, I guess what he's saying is that's being put upon the people. We're being put upon. Let the government plant and plant to bring growth to the economy, to bring in receipts of foreign direct income through goods and services for foreign exchange to pay for the debt imposed on the that should be nation. Yeah, so again, the brother's saying don't let the government put that debt ratio imposed on local economic drive on the people, upon the people. Let the government plan, I guess, to bring growth to the economy in order to create that direct revenue through goods and services for foreign exchange to pay back their debt imposed on the nation. I think that the line is open. I think we definitely should have a panel discussion, and maybe, Shimon, what you could do, and those who are interested in being a part of that, You can definitely, the numbers on the screen, shout me on Facebook. Facebook or WhatsApp. And let's see, we have a conversation. I mean, like I said, I'm not an economist. I'm just asking questions. During COVID, most countries got stimulus boosts. The hotel industry in Barbados got stimulus boosts. A few businesses might have got a few stimulus boosts. But for the most part, the rest of us had to suck salt and settle for the brown bag when they brought the little groceries that they deliver some point in time during COVID. I noticed how they drove past my house, though, for some reason. I was home. Nobody never knocked on my door. I thought that was the strangest thing. Like, I watched everybody get a knock on the door and they bring in bags. Not that I probably would have taken it. But they reached the front door to the Rastaman crib like they already knew, like, nah, we're going to skip him. I tell myself, man, just so. But anyhow, that was all right. PM says prices have not changed. Prices have not changed. They say it takes a while. It takes a while for the money to come. No, they say it take a while for it to trickle down and trickle down and trickle down. I don't know, family, right? But I think that at this point, man, we need to become a bit more clear on what's going on in the country. Greetings to you too, Janelle. Blessings and more blessings upon you. Sandra, bananas don't have money left over, so they can save and invest. So they borrow money to live, which is unsustainable. Yes. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, man. But let me let him. The reason why I said we got 33 weeks of import cover. Let me say this. That's what I was going to say originally. 33.3 weeks. Ironically, these numbers, right? 333. Here's the real facts of this. 33 weeks is almost like half a year, give or take. We know a year is 52 weeks. So 33 is just, little is in that space there. Let me call it 7 months, right? Or give or take. My thing is that, well, we can't call it 7 months. 6 3s is 18. We multiply that 6 4s. We'll do the math. Let me call it 7 and change. Let me round it up instead, rather than rounding it down. Let me call it 8 for the sake of arguing. Let me round it up instead. What I find is shocking, and that is, I'll say this, man. I don't want to make it sound like a scare. Like, I don't want to push no fear. So don't misinterpret what I'm about to say, right? I here trying to choose my words very carefully. So what we're to assume by this is that if something were to happen and, we were in a position that since we only got enough money to cover 33 weeks, it means to say that if we were in some sort of crisis for some reason, the world had like we said, world war broke out right now, something major on the world. We don't have enough money to buy enough foreign items, food, material, supplies, equipment, tools, whatever you call it. We don't have enough. In other words, we would only have enough funds to last 33 weeks is what I'm understanding by this. Just I asking for a friend. My thing that she's a pure clown. I don't know who you're referring to as a clown. I don't know. They're gonna pass on that. Jamal is saying, now, according to the caption, Barbados borrowed 1.2 billion in 1 year. Barbados Financial Stability Report 2021 to 2022 shows a total money supply of Barbados at 26.7 billion. By the way, that's US, by the way. 5 foreign privately owned banks control 52% of that money, and Barbados has no bank to capture any of that revenue. So what you're saying is that all this money passing through Barbados and we ain't even getting to hold on to it for a second, is what you're telling us? You're trying to tell me that all this money going through Barbados, Barbadians are not having a say in it? Nah. Nah. Nah, that can't be so, man. It can't be so, man. That is the question, Emmanuel. How does Barbados go about generating direct revenue? Well, I like to think that that's why we're having this conversation tonight. I'm telling you, let me let this guy finish this section right here before we get to the last part of what he's saying, because I think I had another video to show. I think so. Yeah, I think there's another one there. Let me jump forward here a bit, because he gets into the part I want to deal with, which is coming up next.
Per week in foreign reserves. What is driving the reserves? Continue to be the strong influence on the tourism sector. This block is tourism. You can see it's a little bigger than before. $860 million in net tourism receipts. There were also some borrowings by the government coming in terms from IMF, etc., for policy-based loans, 167 million net. But of course, those tremendous inflows will continue to be offset by a net merchandise trade balance. Typically, we run a merchandise trade balance, given that we are a high import-dependent economy. And so that would have reduced the increase, slowly extent accumulation of foreign reserves. In terms of fiscal operation, I mentioned that the government achieved a fiscal primary balance of 3.7% of GDP. That's 481.4 million. Now, of course, remember the primary balance excludes interest payments. So when we add interest payments to that, is an overall deficit of 1.7%, small deficit. What drove this performance is the higher transaction-based taxes that boosted indirect tax collections. So
that boosts indirect tax collection. This right here is the whole point I want y'all to focus on tonight. Let me see if I can make this happen, man. I don't even know. In fact, let me let him speak first, then we could touch on it.
That boosted indirect tax collections. So if you look at the chart here, you will see that indirect tax collections, which would be this block here, is larger. So that's VAT, that's property tax, that's import duties. Those who have benefit from, those are transaction-based taxes. Indirect taxes, which is this blue line, was a little smaller because of the cessation of the pandemic levy, which would have reduced intake from that. Overall, you see the primary surplus continue, $481.8 million. Plus reduce this chart here, you will see that indirect.
So now, again, the chart has a key to the bottom. I hope y'all can see this clearly. I don't like the fact that the red stuff is there. I don't know how to get rid of that, but that's fine. So we're going to look at this a little closely here now. We know that the blue, the dark, well, let's start with the gray area at the top. That very clear, consistent, what appears to be consistent gray area at the top, the gray area. Let's call that the silver lining. Why do I call it the silver lining? Because that is non-tax revenue and grants. Non-tax revenue and grants. That's right there at the top. That's at the top. And these numbers are, if you look at the chart here, they're in terms of millions. You know, that's what that is. This line don't represent, you know, this is what they accumulated in terms of millions. But anyhow, the revenue that was gained. Anyhow, we're going to put that one aside because we're not even sure what that means. We need some transparency. You know, what that mean, Mr. Governor? The non-tax revenue and grants, that's up there with the 3 million and whatnot. But anyhow, you can explain that another time. We go into the part where it says now the indirect taxes, that light blue area. Now the indirect taxes that they generated from revenue, which means, well, if it was an indirect tax, it means it was you still pay for it. And you see the size of it, right? All I'm going to say, like I said, I'm not an economist. I ain't getting too deep into the math of it. We're dealing with the visuals of this particular document. And we could see that there's a lot larger indirect taxation going on consistently across the board. We can't miss it. As well as we go into the direct taxes. Now the direct taxes right there is also pretty clear in the darker blue. I mean, it's like, okay. Now the expenditure in the yellow, current expenditure, that yellow area is huge. And the capital expenditure net lending, that green at the bottom. I think again, man, I ain't an economist, but I think we need to have some conversations, Mr. Governor. You know, a bit more transparency on. I noticed how quick you went through this particular slide, though. I did. If I'm just observing and notice what you explaining, I notice when it comes to certain slides, you just sliding right by. And this is one of the slides I noticed you kind of slid right by. But I don't know if you fully understand what you just said. At least, you know, again, I'm illiterate when it comes to this right here. I'm just trying to analyze it based on what I see and what I'm hearing. So please, if I'm incorrect, family,
Direct tax collections, which should be
correct me.
this block here is larger. So that's VAT, that's property tax, that's import duties. Those who have benefit from those are transaction-based taxes. Indirect taxes, which is this blue line, was a little smaller because of the cessation of the pandemic levy, which would have reduced input intake from that. Overall, you see the primary surplus continue, $481.8 million. In terms of arrears, government continued to pay down the arrears, and so the arrears further ended this year. The arrears remaining from the stock arrears that was outstanding is 30 million for SOEs and 235 for central government, and that, as you see, continues a downward trend. In the deficit, which I said is overall deficit, would have resulted in an increase in financing needs. The financing needs of government are roughly just under 1.3 billion, whereas many interest payments because of the interest payments increase because of the step-up nature of the bonds, but also because of higher global interest rates, amortization. These are the claims or the needs of government. But of course, government ran a primary surplus, which reduced that amount. So the net financing needs for this fiscal year was a little less than the last fiscal year. Those financing needs were met mainly by policy-based loans, the boss bonds, and some other securities. And so the financing needs were fully covered. So these are the need interest rates, amortization, these are payments because of the interest payments increase because of the step-up nature of the bonds.
Let me pause it here again. The interest payments is increased, but like he said, the primary surplus is down. So, but if the interest payments increase, pay more for interest. I mean, when you got to pay more interest if you got more loans. I just again, I ain't an economist. Somebody help me here, man. Don't that make sense? Why would the interest increase? The primary surplus is down. Again, like I said, somebody come make sense out of this, because this, you talking about this boss bonds. My last I heard, that was a problem. We know that we wrote off a few of these bonds already for national insurance money, and the policy-based loans. I mean, policy-based loans. I mean, really? Wait a minute, man. Wait a minute, man. Somebody come here, man. Take a look at this. Increasing requirements. So this has gone up, clearly. Sinking fund contributions. I don't even know what it is. Arrears repayment. Arrears repayment. Okay. See this section right here? That's financing needs. Versus the financing sources. I think this section here on the left-hand side, right, needs some bit of transparency, man, because again, it's one of them areas that he spoke on, but you know, if a central bank, again, depend on the audience you speak into. So listen for the layman, listen for the regular man.
Also because of higher or net financing needs for this fiscal year was a little less than the last fiscal year. Those financing needs were met mainly by policy-based loans, the boss bonds, and some other securities. And so the financing needs were fully covered.
All right.
In terms of the debt position, the debt
Yeah.
continues on a downward trajectory, ending at the end of March 114.3 million. Of course, there was an increase in the nominal value, the numerator, because of the inflows on the policy-based loans, but the expansion in GDP denominator shrank the ratio, and you continue on a downward sustainable path.
Downward
And you continue on
sustainable
a
path.
downward.
I want to pause it there for a second. This is debt to GDP ratio. See, it continues to decline as the economy expands. That's what that chart says. The debt to GDP ratio. Now, that is usually how they juxtapose it to give it or to prop it to make it look a particular way, because you're dealing with the debt to GDP ratio. Can we get an idea, Mr. Governor, what the national debt is by itself, not juxtaposed to the GDP ratio? We don't want that. Them term GDP and all that, that's, that money don't come to the people. Y'all keep talking about that GDP. That ain't got nothing to do with the Barbadians, who are the ones who are forced under threat of imprisonment or worse yet, and then force the people to pay back these debts that y'all are incurring on a daily basis, or in the tune of millions and hundreds of millions to the calculations of billions. We need some more discussion on this right here. The brother C gonna call him when he finishes presentation. He got like one more clip to play. I think that's about it.
Sustainable path. The financial system remains very healthy and well capitalized, with excess cash still around 3 billion. And you can see still this is excess, the capital adequacy ratio, and it's way above the 8% we usually look as prudentially threshold. And the liquidity system remain quite high and stable. NPLs, which is non-performing loans, continue to decline and at a historical low, and all sectors will have recorded some improvements in those ratios.
Well, that's it there. I think that was it. That's the last one.
Credit continued to expand. We had an increase in credit over the period, the 3 months period, roughly about 3% increase. Credit to hotels, restaurants, and households and real estates were where we found the extension in credit. All sectors, manufacturing was negative, but that is because of net repayments there. But
yes, we know that the credit is being lent to who? The hotels and whatnot. We know that folks ain't getting that kind of money, man. Real estate, other professional services. Yeah, I mean, we know who getting them loans, man. But anyhow, let me skip this. Let's go forward here.
In the current year and the next year from that sort of activity, and that will strengthen going forward. So we expect around 4%, and the rest of the economy we expect will continue to benefit from that. And in this regard, again, investment going to remain critical, especially in area of tourism, infrastructure, and the energy sector to support that growth.
All right, so we're going to leave it off right there. Inflation should moderate in the short to medium term. Anyhow, we know that's a lie. I want to jump here real quick. We definitely opening the phone lines. Let me just check the comments real quick. Let me see here. What we got here. But that's the point. No Caribbean nation should be importing food. We used to feed the world. Our food import bills are astronomical, while our grasp on food security in tennis at best. Well, tenuous at best. Well, at best, at worst, because I don't even know if we really paying attention, man. There's no agriculture in Barbados, man. And right now, the Caribbean is going through its own challenges. We could keep claiming, climate change and weather patterns and whatnot. Which country owns Republic Bank? That would be Trinidad and Tobago. My point exactly, Trinidad. Well, you know what? We can't blame them. New York City Mayor indicated BT the feds. Okay, okay. Um, peace. More. I see you. Artello, I see you. Alignment and spirit. 1 year equals 52 weeks, brother Emmanuel. Let us chat when I am in Caribbean. Thoughts are things. We make things happen by how we think. Facts. Facts. Trinidad is a bigger foreign exchange crisis than Barbados. Trinidad lower the amount of foreign exchange you can spend outside of Trinidad per year. What are the policy-based loans? Good question. Remember, land of the God by the Carib Sea. That is and was us. I knew. Okay, got you. Those who come from above, that is us too. You know, mm, mm. Okay, okay, okay. I was going to say that when we reach a point where we start to manifest on the level where we should be manifesting, is when all things will unfold. But in order to manifest on a level where things can unfold, we definitely got to be in tune and aware where we at, so where we can know where we're going beyond that. But I like how you splice that. But if you recognize what time it is, then you're not here by chance. You're here on purpose. The interest go up because the principal is up. Facts. When the loans were borrowed, the interest rates was low, subject to change, and it did change. Well, at this point, I don't know if the government or the people who are paying attention are paying close enough attention, but we're gonna get it together. Shimon, if you want to definitely jump on in, feel free. The phone lines are open. Tell a friend and tell a friend. What time is it? We got a few minutes. We could share. So if you want to share a thought, what's your thoughts? Can Barbadians repay this debt? The brother's saying it's manifestation time. We can't. But you know, if it's indeed manifestation time, and we are living in that time, and we are living in that time, then it isn't necessarily time to accept being governed by individuals who clearly don't have your best interests at heart. It is time to start governing yourself. By the way, shout out to FADE, Barbados National Congress, having said that. I got to say it again. If it is time to manifest, and manifestation is what we're dealing with, thoughts becoming reality, then it's time then that we stop allowing individuals to govern us as if we're only Negroes, and be upright and take charge of our own destiny by self-governing. A different way of thinking, a different way of governing, because we're living in that time. She said a sinking fund is a fund that has money set aside to pay off debts. Yeah, these bankers, I could imagine. They're borrowing all this money and still they can't get the most important projects in Barbados up and started. Yeah, look at the schools, right? The data is for the foreign investors, not the layman. Yeah, it's a fact. It's a fact. But like the brother said, we got to stop acquiescing and being told by them what time it is. We got to really see what time it is with us and put ourselves in a position to do just that. What else does Trinidad and Tobago own here in Barbados? Or what does Barbados really own here in Barbados? So that if Trinidad owns Barbados, then the question should not be, can Barbadians repay this debt? The question would be, or should be, will Trinidad repay this debt? That just makes sense to me. Some of us are there now. Get the people ready. Okay, Otello. That's an interesting name you have there, Alignment in Spirit. Well, welcome to Politically Incorrect. I don't think I've seen this name on here before. But again, if you're here now, you're not here by chance. So peace and Islam to you. And we look forward. The number's on the screen, by the way, if you're on WhatsApp. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Feel free to give us a call at any point in time, and we can discuss what's happening. The area code is 246-838-8253. And that's where we at, family. It's been an interesting evening. And As always, the phone lines are open for those who are interested in sharing their thoughts. Was this other one here? Was this one? This was another one as well. Let me see. This was, I wanted a year on this article. This was another article I came across on countryeconomy.com. This is Barbados national debt. You know, I don't know if it was a case where they, I mean, I'm just going to share this link with you for those who want to pay attention, or for those who are paying attention, I should say. Let me click that out there. Yeah, this is where we at. Let me share this link. This is National Debt Barbados. Copy this. Yeah, let me copy this for you here. This is another page I came across. Just for those who want to pay attention or have been paying attention. And let me put this link in the comments as well. Paste it there. All right, there you go. Yeah, the link is on Facebook and it's on YouTube. The brother said, with people being laid off left and right, people are not to pay taxes. Okay, hang on a second. I got a call here coming in. Hang on a second. Hi, greetings. Welcome to Politically Incorrect. You're live. If you can hear me, I'm not hearing you. If you're hearing me, I'm not hearing you. Let me see. Can you hear me? Okay, I'm not. Wait a second. Hang on a second. I'm not. Hang on a second. Can you hear me? Okay, wait a second. Let me see. How about now? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, now I'm hearing you. Now I'm hearing you. Now I'm hearing you. Okay. Tell us who you are and where you're calling from.
This is Shimua, right here in Barbados.
Okay.
This is Lotij and everyone.
Okay, let me do a sound check really quick. Can you all hear him? If so, just let me know in the comments really quick if you can hear the brother. Yes, brother, tell us, man. What's going on? How you been?
Been reasonably well. So the online chatters can hear me?
I am going to make that assumption now. Yes, sound like a Verizon ad. So you sound like a Verizon ad. No comment.
Okay. All right. Well, what I want to speak about is direct revenue generation.
Mm-hmm.
Direct revenue. Hello, are you on the phone?
All right, direct revenue. Go ahead, man. Caribbean people.
We call direct revenue generation where Barbados of itself generate their own money rather than borrowing, imposing taxes, and imposing fees on the private citizens. That is, for me, is indirect revenue generation. That is what that means to me. Now, we have a total money supply in Barbados, as I expressed on your show, of $26.7 billion. 5 privately owned banks control 52% of that total money supply.
Wow.
Our debt is 13 billion Barbadian dollars. Okay? The total money supply, the 52% that these banks control, is 13 plus billion dollars. Now, Senator Walters expressed in March that Barbados needs $3.2 billion for 2024. This is mathematics. We all went to school. Now, if Barbados needs $3.2 billion for 2024, and we have 5 privately owned banks controlling banking revenue at $13+ billion, wouldn't it make sense for Barbados to reestablish its own national bank to capture some of that revenue? We have debts. We have public works. What do you think about that, Emmanuel?
No, I'm in total agreement. In fact, I'd like to think that if possible, Barbados could even borrow money from our own institutions like the credit union, so that when they pay back this money, it goes back to Barbadians who are shareholders in these establishments.
You are absolutely correct.
But there's only one problem though. Barbados ain't got no good credit. No credit.
But here's the thing.
Credit ratings.
Here's the thing. You have lived abroad for a minute. I had lived abroad for a minute, right? And we have an understanding of what credit means on the international market.
Correct.
Now, private enterprises work hand in hand because they are private. So they work hand in hand. Their objective is to get money, period. Okay, all right. I'm going to give you an example. Now, I am not a party person. I prefer the policies of the individuals within the party. You follow me? You follow me?
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead.
Okay. During the Democratic Labour Party's tenure, they had 20-something downgrades, but they never defaulted on their debt. They paid their debts. This administration came into existence, and in the very first year, they defaulted on their debt. But yet, still to this very day, they have not even gotten 7 downgrades. In fact, they got about 5 grades. 3 of them appeared to be bad, but then the other 2 brought them to the pinnacle. Or everything is doing great in Barbados. But that's the private enterprises working hand in hand, including the credit agencies. Understand? So the public of themselves, they need not to be divided, because if they are divided among themselves, the private enterprises are going to succeed. Now, we have the BNB, that was a state-owned entity, no longer belong to us. ICBL, state-owned entity, no longer belong to us. The airport and the seaports are leased out, so we do not get those billions of dollars in revenue anymore. We only get rent. The shares, the Barbados Light and Power shares, sold. Telephone shares, sold. So we do not get any direct revenue from those shares. The sugar industry, along with its 3 byproducts, gone.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The tourism industry does not belong to us. We do not own any national hotel. If 10 Barbadians own hotels in Barbados, we own enough. Manufacturing, not controlled by us. Investments, down through the chute. The only thing we have going for us, which is a detriment to us, are the increase in taxes, the imposition of fees, and the continuous borrowing of money to replace those entities that used to generate the billions of dollars for us to do our public works. I want Barbadians to start looking at it from what their eyes see and not what politicians tell them.
Serious.
I mean, we are in a serious state, Emmanuel.
But
where Barbadians believe that karaoke events, fish fries, and free concerts pay the bill.
Q in the community. Give the folks something to do. Don't forget, when Rome fell, it kept the people distracted by keeping them entertained. And while they were being entertained, they were robbing the treasury.
So what I am trying to implore on Barbadians, every time I call into brass tacks, I call in and I speak only about the public side of our society, because the private side has nothing to do with me. What you do in your private life has nothing to do with me. But the public side of our society is important for each and every one, because everything belongs to us collectively is in one pot.
True.
That's why it's called public. And we must be concerned about the affairs when it comes to our public side. We have members of parliament that we, the people of Barbados, elected to go into parliament to look after our interests. But members of parliament go into parliament, they get this new title called a minister, and they look after the interests of private enterprises. If you check very carefully, since this administration came into existence, the private sector got everything that they needed. I just called them out to you. Bank, ICBL, airport, seaport, all terminal. But what did Barbados get?
Nothing.
What did the public get? The public did not get anything.
Well, actually, we got more taxes. To be fair, because we got rid of road, what was it, now is the no registration and the road tax. So now you go back at the gas pump or something along those lines, and if you don't drive, you're still paying for it in one or the other.
I mean, that's very important. I'm going to be professional about it. Okay? The governor, the central bank governor, I'm going to be professional about it.
Be politically correct about it.
Okay. The central bank governor does not have Barbados' interests at heart. Okay? Let me tell you why I say that. I went to, first of all, the central bank governor works for, or used to work for, the IMF. I am hard pressed to believe that he is still not on their payroll.
Wheel and come again. So that one?
Okay. The central bank governor, Mr. Greenwich, he used to work for the International Monetary Fund. Now, according to what the administration and all of the pundits stated, he was given leave from his job to come to his home country to help reshape the financial fabric of our country. This BERT program that they're talking about. Now, he stayed in Barbados and now he's the central bank governor. Well, my thing is this: if you had leave from your primary job to get something done, when that is finished, then you got to come back to work.
You go back, of course.
But, okay, but he is still here in Barbados and he's not the central bank governor. Well, our people have to look with their own eyes, listen with their own ears. What happened there is this. Now I'm going to speculate because I have to be careful. I don't want to jeopardize your show, so I have to be careful.
Jeopardize politically incorrect. That's funny. Go ahead, man.
I know, right? I am speculating that the central bank governor, in an agreement between Barbados and the IMF, is the central bank governor here because he has to monitor those people's money.
That's right.
We borrowed money.
So you can't print. Okay. We can't print our way out of this debt. We gonna regulate. We gonna regulate what you printing.
Exactly. Now listen, this is important.
Deep.
Barbados does not have a national bank. We have something called a central bank, but that is a .org. No money goes through our central bank. Our central bank only establishes banking policies. but the banking policies do not benefit Barbadians. Those banking policies benefit the private banks in the country. Let's use our common sense. The Prime Minister went to Congress, Capitol Hill, about 2 years ago to speak on correspondent banking.
Right.
Now, we elected 30 individuals allegedly to look after public issues. We do not have a national bank. But our Prime Minister went to Capitol Hill and she was speaking about correspondent banking. But they already had 2 private entities that deal with banking in our region who were already there at Capitol Hill, which is the Caribbean Banking Association and another one. Let them speak on correspondent banking for the private sector. Our Prime Minister should not have gone to Capitol Hill to speak on correspondent banking because we don't have a bank. So who did you go to Capitol Hill to speak for? It could not be for us because we don't have a national bank. You follow what I'm saying?
I follow you. Well, I think you said it earlier in terms of, like the central governor just now, the central bank governor was speaking for the private sector. That presentation wasn't for the what we call the citizens or the stock of the corporation known as Barbados. That was for the investors in the corporation known as Barbados. And there's a difference.
Well said, my brother. While I was living in the United States, I learned a great deal from living abroad. While I was living in the United States, I was paying attention to President Clinton's second bid for presidency. And I was watching the DNC convention. And I learned something that night. When you hear they say the economy is doing well, they do not mean you nor I, because we don't have no businesses on the stock market. Did you get that one?
I got you. I got you. I can go a step further since you mentioned stock and market, but I won't do that yet.
Oh, okay, no problem. Well, let me continue. So what they are actually saying is that JADA and Preconco and those entities are doing well. They do not mean that the brother and sister who is hustling on the street is doing well, because they don't know them. They don't monitor them every day.
Right.
But they have a screen that they could monitor the stock market, so they can give account for that. Okay? Our people need to wake up. First thing we need to do, and I want to implore your audience and their friends and their families to advocate for the re-establishment of a national bank. It is important because we have $26.7 billion circulating. 5 banks control 52% of that, and the other 48%, I can almost guarantee that Preconco and those entities own the majority of that 48%. So Barbados as a public entity has nothing. They're not going to take their money and build no roads or fix no bridges. They're not going to take their money and put finance into the welfare purse for our elderly who work so hard to get Barbados where it is. They're not going to take their money and build no orphanages, feed no orphans. That is not going to happen. That has to happen by Barbados having its own entities, assets, sectors, and industries to generate direct revenue to do public works. We went to school. We need to stop acting like if we did not go to school.
Well, look, I think that you will have to set a time where we can call in, bring some charts. We can do our own presentation and look at this very differently from the standpoint of where do we go from here? Because the question is, can Barbadians repay this debt? In reality, at this point, how? You can't tax the people out. You can't tax the people to fill a hole by digging a hole out of debt, because ultimately speaking, you're going to basically dig a bigger hole and pass on to the children and the children. I think it's time that we start to recognize our value as a people and recognize that all we got to do is organize even better, centralize these organizations we have, and then mobilize as a people. Definitely.
Well, finally,
give us your thoughts. Go ahead.
Well, finally, I'm going to tell you how we can repay the debt. Finally, Senator Walters established, as I expressed to you guys, that Barbados needs $3.2 billion for this year alone. He also said that the IMF told this administration that they could remove the 2% tax that they impose on foreign exchange spending. If you spend money on the outside, you're going to pay a tax on that. And it generated millions of dollars. So my suggestion is that the administration do not remove that 2% tax yet. You hold on to that 2% tax and generate twice the amount of money needed to re-establish a national bank, open up this national bank, remove the 2% tax, generate the money that we're supposed to generate, and start paying off this debt.
No, I might agree with you in part, but I don't like the 2% because it's hit me too. I don't like it at all.
Yes,
you can't even buy a shirt on Amazon.
Emmanuel, I understand that. But right now, we cannot look at short-term resolutions. We have to look at long-term resolutions because we live in every day. We have children. Our children are going to have children, and our children's children are going to have children. So we have to think a bit smart.
Well,
that 2%, I agree should be removed. But after we generate, according to the Banking Act, generate twice the amount of money needed to re-establish, because you need a float, re-establish the national bank, remove the 2%, and let our bank work to bring us out of debt.
Okay, I appreciate that, my brother. Thank you for sharing. I like that. Although I'm going to offer an alternative suggestion to reestablishing the national bank. Now here it goes, Shimon. What we do as Barbadians is you can't all pull our money out the bank at the same time. They won't be able to sustain that. But I'm sure in Barbados, based on the assets that we claim to have, let's use the credit union, for example, who, by the way, isn't really a black-owned entity in Barbados. The credit union basically banks with the bank. It's just a subsidiary of the bank with a black face on it. But if we take the assets we have in any credit union right now, which is in the tens of billions, we have enough resources right there to start a national bank automatically. So we amalgamate the credit unions, we convert that into a national bank owned by the people, governed by the people, and not the government. And we use that then to start dealing with the issue of repaying debt in the country from the standpoint where Barbadians become shareholders in their own country. Now, that's just my idea. I don't know what you think about that, but that's just my 2 cents.
I have a rebuttal to that.
Sure.
Okay. Is this. Barbadians are already paying 2% on the foreign exchange spending, and they don't complain. Well, you just made a complaint. No problem.
Wait. Hold on.
But the vast majority.
Point of clarity. You say Barbadians complain in the corners and the rum shots and on the phone with their friends. They don't complain openly and in public. But don't think for a second that Barbadians are satisfied with the. We're not even going to deal with the 2% on the foreign exchange. We're going to deal with the VAT increase that was supposed to be temporary, that's still on. We ain't going to talk about the water contribution. We ain't going to even discuss that. Shimon, if you're going to be realistic, let's be realistic. There's a lot of avenues in Barbados right now that people are being exploited daily to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars for all these additional taxations in different ways. And guess what we have to show for it? Absolutely nothing. The 2%, the 2%, I mean, you could look at that and focus on that. But let's be real, Shimon. Would you prefer to get rid of the 2% ultimately, or get rid of this contribution on the water bill? Especially, you're not even factoring in the fact that the same hotels who spending all the money they make outside of Barbados and not contributing towards the water bill, because most of them don't even pay a water bill. Let me talk facts. Is the people in Barbados who right now being exploited and forced and manipulated to pay all these high taxes in order to cover these debts. And in reality, they don't benefit from the debts. They don't.
I can answer that.
Sure.
I can answer that. Now, I would want both of those taxes that you just measured, that you just spoke about, removed. I would want both of them removed. Right away, we can remove the sewage tax. Let it go.
Facts.
Okay, we could get rid of that. What I am saying is this: rather than taking the people's money that they put in a susu, what we call a credit union, or because a credit union is basically a susu that me and you grew up off of. Our grandmothers and mothers used to throw every week and collect money to do this and to do that. It has become commercialized now. It's called a credit union.
That's the illusion of it. That's the illusion of it. In theory, at this point of clarity, in theory, you are correct. In reality, it's a way for the corporations to access more black wealth to reinvest in their own initiatives. Let me talk facts.
Well, I'm going to agree with you when it comes to banking our credit union money at foreign banks. I agree with you there.
Okay, so that's all it is. Go ahead.
Yeah, listen to this.
Listen, by the way, don't turn this into brass tacks here, but go ahead, Shamo.
No problem.
Go ahead.
Rather than taking the people money that they put in credit unions for their private purposes. They got families, okay? For their private purposes. I am saying the tax that is already out there that is being used to put in private enterprises' pockets, I am saying we should take that tax, generate twice the amount of money needed to reestablish the national bank, get rid of the tax, and let our bank work for us. Okay. That's my final thought.
Well, I thank you for sharing, my brother. And we're definitely going to get you here next week at some point and see if we can do some more of this. I think we're going to make official. Well, the plan was to make Mondays money market, money making Mondays, but we're going to fine tune it. We got some stuff coming up. Show it to the executive council, by the way. We got some stuff coming up, and we're going to figure it out. We don't have a choice.
No problem.
Figure it out. But thanks again, my brother. Peace and love to you and the family.
You're welcome.
All right, that's our brother Shimon right there. The brother put in a lot of work, always helping people in the community. Give thanks to those of us who are about service for the people and not for self. Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men could not put Humpty Dumpty back together again. We are fallen now. Get up, stand up. The oligarchs, I tell you, man, you cannot make this stuff up at all, man. This is the modern day Rome. Positions heal thyself. We have been the stock market all this cycle for them. Facts, more facts again. Advocate for a national bank not managed by government. Indeed. It does not make sense to have a national bank. You are having an emotional response to an economic problem. That's quite interesting. He said, does it make sense to have a national bank? That's interesting. A national bank must have corresponding banking. It cannot operate without it. Okay, I could see that we have some folks on here who are very knowledgeable when it comes to the banking sector and the economy. I think Shimon is right, though. And we don't all have to agree on the how, but let's have a conversation. If you're interested in having that conversation, the number's on the screen, 246-838-8253. Feel free to give us a call, and let's see if we can put it together and really have an open discussion on how to save ourselves, because we can't wait, like the brother said, get up, stand up. We can't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Let us figure out how we're going to help build each other and build our nation through collective security for surety. That's how I'm looking at it, man. Convert the national insurance to a bank. It's our money that is lent out to other entities like Four Seasons. It's not your bank, it's your lifeline, national insurance. That's their motto, right? Well, listen here, family. Like I said, I wouldn't want to stay too long. It is too expensive for credit unions to start a bank. And I totally agree that's why we're saying take the because they won't give credit union the status of a bank, and they refuse to give it because that's about us being empowered, and they will not give us that kind of leverage. That's why we have to look at ways to doing our own investment strategies, investment rather than savings bank, investment banking. And we got to start to look at that and educate ourselves in these areas, because other than that, we at the mercy all the time. Unfortunately, they would have to be satisfied if they are not complaining publicly in the streets. I don't know if they're satisfied, but I think a lot of people are simply afraid to say something. Note, Black people can never lawfully own anything. Why? Because Black people were created by modern English mankind. And according to law, Blacks have no rights other than civil rights. You know, Othello, you're going down a rabbit hole here. And I don't have no problem with it. But in order to get to this level of the conversation, you can't take the people and throw them in the deep end of the pool. Not if you're trying to teach them how to swim. Some might get it and some might drown. I think we're gonna start at the bank, no pun intended, and we're gonna start to do some paddling and some strokes, and we're gonna get folks where they need to be. So definitely give us a call. Numbers on the screen. Give thanks to Shimon for calling in, and wait a minute, he's responding here to something. Michael Nurse is incorrect. I work at 3 banks. You don't correspond banking to open a national bank. You need correspondent banking to transfer finances abroad. Okay. So again, you see, there's a difference in the information. Let's have the conversation, family. He is saying we can. He said Michael Nurse is a plant. He is saying we can't do nothing. I don't think he's saying we can't do nothing. It might be a case where he's responding based on the level of understanding that he has. And that's how I look at things, because everyone serves a purpose. And remember, you're told what you need to hear so you can do what you need to do. So it's a matter of perspective, Shimon. Even if he is a plant, the fact is we know how to nurture that and bring forward fruit. You see what I'm saying? That's right. Anyhow, family, having said that, it's been great having you as always. We give thanks for sharing your time, sharing your synergy, sharing your energy in this time here in our reality. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Be on Friday. We're going to discuss some stuff again going on locally. The question is, can Barbadians repay this debt? Write in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts are. Can we, or will we pass this on to the children and the children's children? We gotta look at it on a serious level. I mean, because it's that time, family. So, having said that, I think we're going to call it a night. What time is it? 11 o'clock now, family. We're going to call it a night. So, you're going to drop a tune as per usual. Wait, hang on a second. The brother's not. How can National Bank operate if it cannot transfer money overseas? All right, see, Mr. Nurse, I got you covered. It's just a matter of having a conversation. So, again, if you're interested in having a dialogue, I totally agree with what Shimon said. Let us actually create a forum and platform where we just have the dialogue, have a conversation. Because whether or not you support the government, you're paying taxes. You buy gas, you buy goods, you're paying taxes. So it will affect us in one way or the other. We can't just say we're neutral and not do nothing. We got to at least figure out how we should, or have some ideas and how things should progress for the interests of the all, and not just the private sector and the social partners. Anyhow, family, thank you again. And so we're gonna push from there. We're gonna push forward, all right? So I had a tune earlier I was listening to. I definitely want to pull it up again and play this particular tune. Yes, family. Speaking of freedom and speaking of standing up, speaking of healing yourself and knowing yourself, I definitely want to play this particular tune right here. Yes, the brother said, BRICS Bank. We need to have the Caribbean, the alliance to the Caribbean National Congress, form our own financial institution and collectively join the international groups that are on a different frequency. Enough is enough. We cannot be controlled anymore. We refuse to be controlled anymore. We refuse to be controlled anymore. Enough is enough. Tell us, family.
Behold, a son of the Almighty, you can control the children of Selassie. No, treading in a Babylon,
Yes.
chanting Rastafari
Tell us,
song.
family.
Though the road is rough and long, still we gonna hold on strong.
We gonna hold on strong, family.
Behold, a son of the Almighty, you can control the children of Selassie. The children of Selassie.
I can't do that, Jackie. I know you'll be here. I know you'll be telling me, Emmanuel, pull that tune. Pull that tune. We can't play that tune one time, man. Pay attention, family. Listen to the message, man. My sister, brothers and sisters, watch the music. Listen to them.
Behold, a son of the Almighty, you can control the children of Selassie. No, treading in a Babylon, chanting Rastafari song. Though the road is rough and long, still we gonna hold on strong. Behold, a son of the Almighty, you can control the children of Selassie. The children of Selassie, they try to live upright, but Babylonian, yes, Babylonian, always causing a fight against I and I tell you.
That's the children of the Trinity. The children of the Trinity. Power of the Trinity, man.
Oh, yeah. The children of Selassie, they try to live upright, but Babylonian, yes, Babylonian, always causing a fight against I and I. Oh, I tell you now.
What about the money? Security money.
Oh, yeah. You better see I and wish I well, cause every tongue shall tell what you do to I and I. You'll have to tell Selassie I behold, a son of the Almighty,
for the entire day I was walking, man.
the children of Selassie.
Now we in this together, family.
Oh no.
We in this together, family.
Oh no.
I do my part by being here.
You never control.
Do your part by telling a friend to tell a friend, man. That's what we're dealing with, family. Stay upful and stay joyful, man. We in this thing together. Yeah, so I can part on another tune, same positive again. Somebody told me they was loving his sister in the other day. What's her name? Risa Garns. I think it's only right. I can drop another tune by Risa real quick here because I think it's the right thing to do. I dropped the same one I dropped the other night. She got another tune. Hold on. She got another tune. I'm going for it, man. I'm going for it. I'm looking for it. Give me a second. Give me a second, man. I'm looking for that tune. Where that tune this one, man? Risa Garns, man. Right side of red. Shout out to right side of red while we at it too, man. Big shout out to right side of red. Gotta give full respect to right side of red. The Risa Garns tune I'm looking for is not on her page, but I do know where to find it. So I just want to look for it real quick here. Yeah, big tune. There's a tune right here. Man. This tune right here, child. I gotta get into with this tune right here, man. Let me go ahead and share this tune. Tell a friend, family. Risa Garns. At least the last first echoes preserving the family. One, listen to this message, family. Listen to the message.
Imagine this world without the money.
Imagine.
Nothing to buy or sell. Just sky above and earth below us.
Feel the energy, family. Feel the energy, man.
No heaven or no hell. No division through religion. No distinction by the color of your skin. Can you imagine? Imagine this world were a better place. Imagine I am you and you are me. Imagine there's no class, no color, creed, no race. We're all the same. Take a look and see. Imagine this world without the nations. No borders or no lines. No need for guns, no ammunition. No need to take so many lives. No deception through corruption. No destruction. No fight to lose, no win. Can you imagine? Oh, imagine this world were a better place. Imagine I am you and you are me. Imagine there's no class, no color, creed, no race. We're all the same. Take a look and see. Oh, imagine there is no more reason for the wars. Peace and safety like never seen before. No more pain, no more hurt, and no more scars. Oh, the love that we could ask for, nothing more. Imagine this world were a better place.
Serious, man.
Imagine I am you and you are me.
Energy, family. Energy, family.
Imagine there's no class, no color, creed, no race. We're all the same. Take a look and see.
Risa Garns. Full shout out, full respect to the sister right there. I'm saying music is a message, not a competition. So hopefully y'all get the message, man. The link is in the comments for that tune right there. But make sure you type in Risa Garns. She has a YouTube page. Make sure you go check it out. Make sure you like it. Make sure you click notification. And like I said, shout out to Right Side of Red. Amazing band. She actually performs with them. And like I'm saying, man, we got to support our own. That tune right there is an international tune. And we're going to send it viral from Barbados, man. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend. Make sure you share that with your people. Make sure you share it with your friends. Make that go viral differently, family. Enough is enough. Shit, I feel we need to do a video for that tune, though. They can talk to some people they know. Risa, we need to do a video, Risa. Straight up, man. Anyhow, family, y'all have an upful night, joyful, peaceful, a reflective night. Think about this thing, about this economy, because everybody talk crime. How we going to fix crime? We going this and that. I ain't hearing nobody talk about how they going to bring money to the community, because you ain't fixing crime if you ain't addressing poverty. You're playing games, man. You can fool the people sometimes, you can't fool them all the time. Having said that, we up out of here, family. Be at peace and be at one with the universe. Rastafari.